Hello, I want to welcome you to my channel. My name is Yemi Omogboyega. Kindly remember to press the like button, the notification button, and remember to share this video as well as the others that you may watch. God bless you. I want to be talking about vision and action. Vision and action. And this topic, I picked it up from the Bible in 1 year that I use. I recommend that Bible in 1 year to anybody. It's on the net, free. It's far better, richer, and more heaven focused than all these our local devotionals, which are tilted towards telling us African tales and making things unreal. The way I see it, that's my judgment. Most of them, they don't really measure as heaven-focused devotionals. I appreciate their efforts, but honestly speaking, I've used them all. I found that none has beaten this one. So let me leave that as that. Today's topic that was treated there actually focused on Daniel's vision for his country. But I'm going to adapt it to my personal life because it is relevant. That's the essence of all this Word of God that we are studying. In the first place, a life without vision is a useless life. Is a life, honestly, that can end up not only in disaster, but it can land such a person even in hellfire, at the end of his journey on earth, apart from the fact that he will suffer on this earth. Now, what is vision? Vision is a mental picture of what you want to achieve in life or what you want to achieve after life. And every stage of our lives is ruled by vision. I will explain. When I was young, about 1965, my mother and I were going to farm. I was following my mother, and we got to a spot in the outskirts of our village then, which I remember today. I still get there. I thank my God for that. I had this divine urge or divine inspiration to speak. And what triggered off my speech then, or my statement then, was the fact that I saw my mother suffering so much. It was just too much. I saw that my mother was really in agony that is caused by poverty. So, as a result, I looked at her. I told my mother, I spoke to her, I said, Mom, if head will have me wear the crown, that I will take the best care or good care of you. And I went further, explaining the strategies. I did say that I will take care of you medically, I will provide food for you, I will provide shelter for you, I'll provide you clothing, I think there is one other thing. If I remember that, I'll let you know later. But those are the four, let me say, the four cardinal visions. Okay, one vision. I did say I will take good care of you. That's the vision. The strategy is in these areas: Medicare, food, shelter, clothing. So I did say that. And my mother, in return, it was just like a drama. My mother, in turn, replied, if God will permit me to live to the point you are talking about, I will take good care of your children. I will carry them on my back, and I will be the one taking good care of them. That was as far back as 1965. About that time, my mother will be, she was 92, should be around 50. Let me not estimate her age now, so that I don't get it wrong. All I'm saying is I'm the last born of my mother, and she had me at the age of about 46 years. You can add 10 to that, so my mother will be about 56 years. I think it's a bit clearer now. So I told her all that, and I had it at the back of my mind that God helping me in life, I will surely be an instrument to put an end to the sufferings that my mother was passing through. To God be the glory. My mother came to me in 1985 July, and she spent the rest of her days with us. That was after my marriage. She spent the rest of her days, 18 solid years, with us, fulfilling. It was now time for both of us to fulfill our visions to one another. One, my mother enjoyed good food, perfect medical attention, and to God be the glory, the house we dwelt in then, Block 435, flat 1 or so. Yeah, flat 1 was where we were. Low-cost housing estate, Jakande Estate, Isolo. That was where the first house I would say I owned in my life. She was practically living in her own house. So we were together for 18 years. My mother enjoyed throughout. And it was the same period that we were having children. My mother nurtured all our children, fulfilling all her vows. She nurtured all our children. The last one, Olatunbosun, was going to 11 years old when my mother became strong, in quote, that she could no longer do that. In fact, one day after having her, birth for the child, he now told us, if you had anyone after this one, it is your responsibility. I've done my bit. So to God be the glory. My mother and I will fulfilled our visions. Now, what is the importance of this vision? It's the definition of what you intend to be, or what you want to do, or what you intend to do at a particular time in life. That's one for my wife, for my mother. Then the second one is that same period when I was young. I have looked at my entire family in terms of education. Nobody was educated. We don't even have a primary 6 school certificate holder in my entire family. That is both father side and mother side. And even in my third house, because I had 3 homes. So I had a vision that I shall be educated. And this vision was developed from the fact that my mother was particularly anxious that at least let her children be educated. She tried for we were four that survived out of 8. She tried to let the first 3 have good education, but unfortunately, one thing led to another. They could not have it. So I was the last one. And she now said, she kept praying for me that I would be educated. That was her vision for me, and I keyed into it. I became interested, and I said, "Blessed, I will be a graduate also." And I also tied my career. I also spoke about my career. The first career that occurred to me to be was to become a teacher, then later, additionally, a lawyer, and then every other thing that followed. By God's grace today, I think I have fulfilled all that. So, vision is very important. I defined what I wanted to be academically. I defined what I wanted to do for my parents, and again, I was working on it. So we were doing all that. So I had a clear picture. So another very important vision that I developed was that I said, I have seen that nobody was educated. Then 3, I discovered that poverty, financial poverty, dominated my family. I'll give you an example. There was one day that my mother was home, I was home, and then his uncle came and wanted to borrow 6 pence, which was 6 kobo today. And my mother didn't have it, and she burst into tears. Then I looked at her and said, "Oh my God, this is a bad one." And you see, that's the example. I didn't like all those things. So I had determined in my life to end poverty in my family, starting with me, because if I don't solve my own problem, I cannot solve the problem of others. So I decided to say I'm going to put an end, because I looked at my mother's side, my father's side. If there is any problem that we had, it was financial poverty. It wasn't acceptable to me. And I said, I must put an end to it, starting with me. So, God willing, as I went on in life, I kept on remembering those visions and was working towards achieving them. And then what was my strategy for this one? I said, the first thing is I would, apart from the fact, I sponsored myself from primary 6, to God be the glory, God being with me up to university level. Then I said, good. But the junior ones that are coming, how do I eradicate this poverty across the families? I said, okay, I would see to it that I picked one child. My own siblings, they have gone past schooling age. Not that they have, but they just weren't cut out for it. So let me put it that way. If they were still interested, they could still do it, but they were not interested. So I now said, okay, my siblings' children. I started with our firstborn, Florence Feintola. I said, I will pick one child from her and train him educationally. Then I said to myself, Mr. Ajiboye Lubusi, that I would book a child from him. I said, Juliana Lubusi, I will pick a child. Those are my direct siblings. Now I went ahead and said, okay, my mother's side, I said, by that time I had not changed my name to Mugboyega. I was still bearing Lubusi. That's another story entirely. So I said, because one thing triggered me off. I saw love, all of them, mother's side in particular. The love was so much. It was my Uncle Israel Olayinka, who took me away from our hometown to Idonre, where I was doing contract farming. 1967. We returned in 1970. And he ensured that he placed me, to God be his resting, may his soul continue to rest in peace today. He fulfilled his promise to send me to school. So from him, I had primaries 3 and 4 in Idori before we came back home in 1970. So when I remembered him, I said, oh, this man that is so kind-hearted. I also remembered him alongside with my mother's siblings. And I said, okay, what I will do is I will pick a child each from them. So I went to my uncle. I picked one of his daughters. Then I went to his brother, elder brother. I picked one of his child, one of the daughters. Then I left that. I went to the one that was third to my mother, that is the one that was next to my mother's brother, who was born immediately after her. That is the third child of my grandmother now in the maternal side. I picked a child. So the only person that didn't enjoy that scholarship, let me put it that way, my little scholarship, was the Mrs. Ibido Igbari. I don't know why, things were so, pressure was so much that I couldn't pick one from that side. That's the only person that I couldn't reach out to, because my ability was very limited. So I did the little I could to guide these children and to send them to the schools that I can afford. It could be ordinary institutes. All I knew is that they were learning. Some of them did secretarial studies as I did, and so on and so forth. And to God be the glory, I was able to fulfill all those visions. And later on, this vision was extended to even non-biological family members. And to God be the glory today, they are all doing well. But one major thing that I always tell them is, look, I am doing this for you so that you can take, sorry, that background noise is from our dog. So we might be having that little distraction because I can't break this recording. So with that, God helped me to fulfill all those visions. You can see they are all visions, then followed by actions. I did not just say them. I started implementing them. And they were all fulfilled to God's own glory. And today, I don't think, in my family today, we have many graduates and many professionals, even on both sides of my family. It was much later, only in 1992, after I was 36 years old, that I returned to my biological father's home, and love continues from that side. And I thank God today from both sides. I am not the one that trained anybody from my father's side, because I wasn't even there anyway. So maybe if I had been there, I would have been able to also extend that. But I'm happy, to God's glory, that today God actually made things to work for us. So both sides of my family. And my father's side, we now have graduates, university graduates, professionals, like those who are in the medical line, and so on and so forth. Those who are in the sciences, engineering, let me put it that way. We have engineers. And then in my mother's side today, to God be the glory too, I'm a lawyer from that family. And my other children that I took off from there, they are somebody of substance today. What I always tell them is, please, I'm doing this for you so that you can first take good care of your parents, take good care of your own siblings, take good care of your families. And to God be the glory, all those things worked out for me. But the bottom line is that there was a vision. And today, everybody is at peace. It is well with everybody. And I'm happy that many of the children that God brought to me to show the way, they followed the way. Today, there had been value chains, such that they too did what they replicated what I taught them. For instance, Rotimi Bitoye, may God continue to bless him. He is blessed, and he is a blessing to the Bitoye's family. Busola Ajayi, my dear daughter, to God be the glory. She fulfilled that vision in her family. You can imagine, a woman. She also lived up to expectation. Kazim Olanipekun also enjoyed the benefit. The brother, junior brother to my uncle's wife, is a perfect example of what the visions I had for them was, because I told you I extended it beyond the family background of my own family. So they are my family too, but biologically, you can see. Then today, he is doing well. Janet Olayinka, at her own level, she's doing well. I also do believe that, and Eunice Adegbola is doing well to the best of her ability. She stayed with us too, to God's glory. So, what am I saying? I'm just giving it as an example of what visions can do. Those little visions of mine then have become something of substance today. To God be the glory. So it is good that we have visions. If we don't have visions, and what is a vision? A vision is a challenge of the status quo. If you do not challenge what is on ground, there shall never be a progress. I was so angry with poverty, financial poverty, academic poverty, that I had to develop visions around it. Poverty in whatever nature is unacceptable to me, even intellectual poverty in terms of having education. So all these things, they were all part and parcels of the things that God himself gave to me. Today, you will see me challenging the status quo in religion. I think that is making waves now. I keep on challenging the status quo. If I'm going to church and my life is not better, then that God is either I didn't get it right. Then if I got it right and I still remain worse than I am, then that God, it means it's either I didn't get it right. Don't let me say anything other than that. By the time before I started challenging churches, especially doctrines, I had seen that many of the things they taught us in my early days were capable of destroying my life completely. Ìgbàgbọ́ láì lo oògùn, faith without medication. Then They were kind of teaching ìgbàgbọ́ láìsí iṣẹ́, that is faith without work. And then the controversial tithing and whatever, which they used to scare us, instilling fear in us to steal our money. That's stealing. Bible says he who knows what is right and fails to do it is a sinner. They know how to quote Malachi 3:8-10. But they won't tell you what the tithes are supposed to be meant for, if at all it was to be collected. In Deuteronomy 14:22-29. It is all there for you to read yourself. But we are fooled, just like one of my children said. So we were scammed for years. And I didn't get out of that scam until I was over 63 years of age. And I can see it, I can say categorically today that life is far better. That's why I come in vehemently to oppose payment of tithing and first. Anything that gives you fear in the house of God is not of God. So there is a kind of hypocrisy there, because the teachers and preachers are benefiting from them. Why didn't they use the tithes? Why didn't they gather it together and you use it for merrymaking, as Deuteronomy 14 says? Let me just leave that at that. You must challenge the status quo. Then that will, that will push you into deep research. And after doing the research myself, I discovered there are so many fallacies that were being taught. That's why I say these they are local devotionals. You better be careful. We're telling you sweet stories, African tales. Compare it with Bible in 1 year. Just Google it, Bible in 1 year, and you will see what I mean. You do real Bible studies that is applicable to your life, not somebody I'm twisting, psychologically possessing everything about you, only to throw you into confusion at the end of the day, carrying fear instead of boldness before your God, giving you problems instead of solutions to your life, telling you fake miracles. I was reading a prayer point on the Facebook today. I was forced to react to it, written by my very close friend, pastor, saying that, okay, all those enemies, say, Lord, block the gates and the gatekeeper or something, meaning the enemies that are blocking my chances of advancement. You see, I was forced to react. I said, look, these are the kind of prayers with which people got fooled. Jesus says, pray for your enemies, not that they should be destroyed. If you say the gate should be destroyed, okay, fine, but not the gatekeeper. Pray for your enemies. You have no business with the gatekeeper. It's God who can take care of the gatekeeper. So I had to kind of react to that. Then, so when you pray for your enemy, I gave example of Esther as well as Nehemiah. Nehemiah faced the stiffest opposition. Esther had the same thing with Mordecai. The same thing. These people never one day pray. Esther fasted for several days. Nehemiah fasted for. There was never a day that they mentioned killing their enemies. They left all that in the hands of God and faced what God wanted them to do. And they did what God wanted them to do successfully and became what God wanted them to become. Why focus on the enemies you create yourself? Why do you want your enemies dead? Is that what Jesus says? Jesus says, pray for them. Give them water if they are thirsty. Give them food when they are hungry. Clothe them if they have no clothes. These are the kill them by fire, by force, by fire, by force. Stupid prayers instead of focusing on God and leaving everything in His hands. We just pray out of emotional sentiment, wicked emotional sentiment. What do you gain by your enemies die? In fact, your enemies are the ones that make you to realize the presence of God in your life. They are your friends in disguise. So, I will never pray that my enemies should die. Now, we will be continuing with this, but I'm just telling you vision plus action. I did not say those things. I wanted to be educated. I kept on reading, using the resources I had to sponsor myself. I wanted to eradicate poverty in my life, in the life of my brethren. I kept on sending them to school, training them, giving them skills, and today it is better for them. So let us know what. Let's stop praying amiss. If you want to be rich, please work. Deuteronomy 28 from verse 10 to 14. Please, you shall be head now, not tail. You won't get it out of laziness. A mean man cannot stand before kings. Show me a diligent man, he shall stand before kings. Romans 12:9 also thereabout says, work and pray. So let me stop here. If I want to continue it, I will tell you it's going to be part 2, but let me leave it at this point. I hope you've learned something. Please remember to subscribe, share, press the like button, press the notification button. God bless you. See you some other time.